June 30th, live from Paris at the BETC offices. It's the Breaking and Entering show. It's advertising, marketing, news. You need to know the most important stuff today, right now. We got a great show. Gino, how are you feeling?
Heavily caffeinated. Heavily.
And caffeinated. She graduated. And bills you don't pay for, parents pay it.
Freaking love that song. Is that Mac Miller's?
It's and bills paid for, parents
It's
pay.
Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, and it's Empire of the Sun.
Oh yeah, Empire State of Mind.
No, that's Empire State of Mind, New York, New York.
You know, do you miss New York? It's supposed to be the best time, the best place to be right now is New York.
There's a heat wave.
Oh, never.
But I saw that the June 2026 will go down as the best place you could be at any point at any time is New York in June of 2026.
I'm loving my little Euro trip. You've changed since you've been in.
I have changed a lot. There is some sort of quarter-life crisis happening.
It's fantastic.
But today's show is fantastic. We got a great slate. We're going to have Nick Bakshi, who's an executive creative director here at BETC in the Paris office, but he comes from America. So how do you have success in a foreign country? It's seemingly like a meteoric rise for him, and he's had a ton of success, worked on some cool clients, so we'll talk with him about that right here live in person. And then we also have Natalie Wills joining us. She's the SVP of Marketing for Expedia. And if you remember, a couple months ago, we interviewed her because they had announced this partnership. They did it with Mother LA around iShowSpeed, X-Speed, and they did a lot with it. There was like the hero spot, but then they also made this website, which I thought was the coolest part, with Mother and with another agency, I forget, where if you were someone who was traveling, you could go to this website and see like clips of iShowSpeed being in that destination, and then right there you could like book the trip. And so obviously iShowSpeed, his whole thing is he travels around, does these live streams.
Yeah.
So interested to see how's it going. Because we love launching. We love like these launches and those are newsworthy. But I feel like I care more about, okay, did it actually work? Did something happen? Was it all just for show, or was it showing you the dough? And then finally, Brett Deshefsky, who is hosting Creator Beach at Cannes. He can definitively tell us, are creators taking over Cannes? Are creators taking over marketing? And how should brands and how should ad agencies be thinking about it?
I'm going to try to get through the bias in that conversation.
I think he'll be good. We have a good relationship with him.
Yeah, of course. But like, he runs a company called Creator Economy in New York City. But I want to see what were the marketers saying? Like the conversations that he had with like the brand side CMOs.
He also owns a company called Sifsy, which is all about getting comment sentiment, like pretty much using your comment section for like data and insights as like what you should be doing for brands.
I got it.
So he sits in a good spot, but like yes, we're gonna have to get past that because especially even at Cannes Lions, they have a very clear business incentive to promote and get more creators to come to Cannes, because it brings not only like people buying passes, but it brings sponsorship money.
For sure.
It brings more kinds of brands that want to activate at Cannes and spend more money at Cannes and all of that. So we'll try our best to get to the root of like, okay, how are creators actually being used? Because there's so much hype.
Yeah, he's the perfect guy for it.
He is the perfect guy for it. Today's top story though, Gino, little bit of legal. It's getting a little catty. It's getting a little bit of catty. Some controversy between DoorDash and their partnership with T-Pain and marketers online, and potentially, I think they are skirting the law a little bit. Do you have the background? Do you want to explain
I
this?
can try my best.
Yeah.
I believe that it started with social media, whether it was X or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on X. DoorDash company account, the brand account, was tweeting like, T-Pain really knows how to play soccer. He's really good at football. Like, go T-Pain. Like, you're really hustling out there on the field. And they're tweeting at T-Pain, the rapper, the artist, who has a really good voice, but it actually was like all a joke.
Well, so there's an actual soccer player named Tim Payne who's performing well, and Tim Payne sounds a lot like T-Pain, same initial, whatever. So DoorDash was like, that's a funny joke, let's do it.
Yeah.
And at first, everyone picked it up, and it felt like DoorDash was doing this like as a mistake or like as a joke.
Right.
And T-Pain interacted with it and was like quote tweeting them and being like, what are you guys talking about? I don't actually play soccer.
Right.
Leave me alone.
He got in on the bit.
He got in on the bit, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is so funny. What a crazy organic thing. And of course, it turns out it was a paid partnership, which they revealed, which DoorDash and T-Pain ended up revealing that they partnered together for it. But now everyone's up in arms. All these marketers, especially like social media marketers, being like, well, that's a violation of FTC laws. Like you have to disclose that T-Pain partnered for this partnership. So like, there's the people that are calling that out and being like, this isn't right. Like, I'm a social media marketer. I run our brand account and I follow the laws and I see this. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of annoying. They probably won't get any real repercussions from it. No. But you think about DoorDash, social, ran by Zaria. Zaria's a legend. She knows how, it got buzz, it got attention, obviously, got people talking about it.
For sure.
So that is to set the stage.
The whole thing was engineered.
Right.
And Zaria's behind it at DoorDash, comes from running Duolingo, making that brand stand out. So, of course, this thing was planned out. They had a deal with T-Pain, the artist. And I think, was Mojo Supermarket involved in this too?
Yes, that's right. Were. Thank you. Mojo
Shout
Supermarket.
out to Mojo, which is a social agency. They crush this type of stuff. So, like, that's a good relationship. Want to give them some love there too. Right. So, I didn't see much about like the legal stuff, and like the sentiment there is more like back and forth of like the thing I want to bring up and get your opinion on. I'm seeing on my algorithms, people don't like when brands enter the conversation as much anymore.
Fatigue.
Like on TikTok, if a brand comments, like they just start shitting on the brand.
Even the creator themselves will fire back at the brand and be like, shut the fuck up.
Brands are no longer welcomed in the comment sections. Maybe we can ask Brett about that too. Like it seems like a lot of people are growing against when the brands try to just show up.
It's not as funny anymore, of course. I'm surprised it's even taken this long for it to not be funny. I feel like brands have been commenting for probably like 5 to 7 years
since they got on social. I feel like,
and it remained this like really funny thing, and it was an engagement hack. The brand accounts always get so many likes because people are like, oh my god, it's so quirky that this brand is in the comment section.
Oh yeah, you feel like well, if I posted something in a brand, when we post stuff and a brand likes it, I like it.
I know, but why?
We're ad nerds.
Yeah.
But it does make it like if they're hopping on a trend or something, like it makes it uncool. But this was engineered separately.
And it worked, obviously. I mean, the post blew up.
We're talking about it. People are talking about it. Yeah.
But it brings yourself to like the question of, would this have gotten as much virality if you knew it was a partnership from the get-go? Versus
back to that.
If I see this organically and I think that T-Pain is just like going after DoorDash, I'm like, holy, this is wild. Like, this is so cool that this is happening. And I'm more likely to engage with it if I am under the illusion that it is an organic thing versus if you saw the paid partnership from
Of course, they had to skirt. They had to skirt by, and they couldn't say this is a partnership at the very beginning.
Yeah, to make the joke make sense.
For sure. Good for them.
Okay.
Good for DoorDash. Like,
I'm like, as a bad boy myself.
Like, for sure.
Yeah. The only thing that makes sense that I empathize with is the social media marketer that's like, I think there's a lot of social media marketers that don't have this level of trust by their higher level, their CMO or whatever, where they're like, yes, there's risk involved. Yes, it's breaking FTC laws that nobody actually follows.
Sure.
But I'm under pressure from my risk team, from my legal team, that like if I try to break any sort of FTC code, I am screwed. I'm going to get fired. And then I look and see DoorDash, and I see them give all this to like to their social team and let them do it. Which I think like if you play by the rules you're given. If the FTC is never going to actually do anything about this, I see no reason why they wouldn't go and do this. You know what I mean? If you know you're not going to get in trouble.
Sometimes it takes a brand of this scale to set the tone.
Right.
And maybe we'll see will this have a domino effect? Maybe, maybe not. Like,
will it change like the legislation? I also saw like they got the community notes slapped on it from X. And then you saw Zaria. I think I have it up to Zaria posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, let's pull that up.
Like kind of like talking about what her explanation for it. I understand her legal team probably might have, in speculation station right now, might have been like, maybe don't acknowledge directly whether the paid partnership disclosure and how we went about that. But she kind of addresses the fact that like, at the end of the day, it's marketing, and it is what it is. Like, you can't get upset about it. You can't. They accomplish their job as marketers, getting more attention.
I think there's probably some really good arguments to why they shouldn't have done this too. Though.
Should not.
I don't know though. I don't know what those arguments are, like the ethics of it. And
There's of course, and that's the only thing that I empathize with.
For sure.
Is like the social media marketer. I totally can see why, and they have so much reason, and of course they're backed by the law that says that you really can't do this. But they probably, at the end of the day, like, you get so much pressure to perform, make this go viral. We need to get 1 million views tomorrow. We need to be in culture constantly. And so when that is kind of your remit, to use a word that everyone uses, I see why people are like, let's push the boundaries. Let's float in this like legal, illegal territory. Let's do some stuff that's like against the FTC, when it's like, we're not going to actually get in trouble.
You know what's interesting? It's like with all these social media apps, if the goal is to go viral, like, people are going to do what it takes to do that.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot what the correct term is. Like, there's like a phrase, like, you show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. And the incentive is to go viral, and then like what will be the outcome will reflect what they need to do there.
Right.
And like that's what's kind of been the issue with social media. But there's like some better thought leaders that talk about
There's the best thing that can happen is like, you know, for what it's worth, however you feel about X. There is the aspect of like they got slapped with the community notes thing that's like, this is a sponsored thing. Sure. But it's too little too late. There's already 5 million people that saw it.
It's fun, and I think they're going to keep.
It's a fun debate though.
It is fun, and I think it's not going to stop DoorDash. Like this is what they're built for now, is the social plays here.
For DoorDash,
they got Mojo, you got Zarya. Yes. It's all social.
And whatever like the slap on the wrist FTC fine is pales in comparison to the value of the post going viral and all the extra attention.
For sure.
In my opinion. So we'll see what happens. If the FTC actually comes in and is like, we're going to do a probe, we're going to check, we're going to do this, we're going to make it your life hell, but I don't see it happening, which is why this stuff will continue to happen, for better or worse. Let's move on.
Yes.
Is it time for the 2-minute drill? It is time for the 2-minute drill. Let's get it going. It's advertising, it's marketing news. It's 2 minutes. Let's get it going right now.
First Will Ferrell. This is great. Skims. It's a Skims Will Ferrell, who's got a new show on Netflix. It's like 3 brands in one. You got Kim Kardashian, you got Will Ferrell's new show, and you got Skims underwear for men. 3 brands all coming together here.
It's the triumvirate. The triumvirate.
It's
this
so
is
funny.
Like when people were making the joke at Cannes, like, are you going to the Axiom, Meta, Palais, Patio, Spritzer, sponsored by Duolingo partnership with Ramp? It's everything. It's Kim Kardashian. It's the star power, and you have a fun photo shoot.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely going to grab your attention.
Yep.
It's working. It's all over.
Right.
So, but what's interesting, I feel like, and Edelman's trust barometer, I guess, kind of reinforces this too. That consumers actually have higher trust in brands now than they did like a couple years ago. Like, think about this like 5 years ago. 3 brands coming together to do 5 years ago, we'd be like, this is BS. Like,
what do you mean?
Like 3 brands coming together to try to sell something. Like, how disgusting that would be 5 years ago. 10 years ago, like, consumers would hate this. They'd be like, this is just terrible. But now we like influencers, we like brands, and like we're okay. Like, that's why it's okay today.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it's shown in
like,
the Edelman Trust Barometer.
Not paid, by the way. That was not a paid.
No, but it seems like you don't like to disclose FTC stuff. So who knows if it's paid or not?
You were the one that said you don't want to disclose. You said you're the bad boy. I said I empathize.
You said you're the bad boy.
No, I said I empathize. I empathize. You did. I saw your face. You did the Napoleon Dynamite guy. You did the. I didn't even realize like the Skims men's. I think it's almost surprising seeing like Skims doing stuff like this. Kim Kardashian, they feel very serious, but everyone loves Will Ferrell. It gets attention. You're right. I think it accomplishes a job. Next up, Winter 2030 logo dropped. Of course. People love talking about the Olympics logos, so of course we're going to talk about it.
I feel like the first reaction is just to hate on it.
I know, everyone's inclination.
Everybody hates a new logo.
JR doesn't really, he's not really liking it either. I saw the article, of the link
you
that
guys
we
are
had.
just terrible people.
I think the link says like, no, this isn't a new financial app. This is the Olympics logo.
That article actually was like, it does look good. And it's like, well thought out, but it does look like a finance app of some sort.
It's simple. It feels kind of minimal. The goat. I feel like the goat Winter Olympics one is Lake Tahoe, whatever that year was.
Oh, I'm gonna look that
If you
up.
want to look it up, I don't know if JR
Lake Tahoe.
No, Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe Winter Olympics. I feel like that one is the goat.
1960.
Look at it. Let's see.
They had such good logo design in the 60s.
I don't know if it is this one.
Star thing?
No. I
This
guess
star?
I think I'm thinking of something else. My bad. But there's some old school love. That's always fun. A design nerd would love.
Yeah.
If you go down the memory lane of Olympics logos.
How do you tell if a logo is good or not? Would you get a tattoo of it? Is that
That's a fun one. I guess that depends on the person.
I don't know
but-
what the standard is for it.
Well, it depends. It's subjective. Of course, and that's why when these drop, it gets so much buzz because
Yeah.
it's very simple. You can quickly
This one looks good.
determine if you like it or not.
I think if we got it's got the Paralympics and then this like inverted and it's like interesting, like the two design systems like complement each other. I think that looks great here. But who is our design expert?
We had him on.
Where is he at?
We will have him on soon, I think. But
If you're a design expert and you want to talk about this, let us know.
Yeah,
and,
I'm kinda
and
just
let us
looking
know
at
in the
some-
comments too, whether you love this or hate this. But I think it looks pretty good.
yeah, but the goat of all time is Mexico, right? Mexico City, yeah, of Summer Olympics. Next one, Gina, what do we got?
Okay, next up here, let me pull it up here.
John Wren.
Oh,
John-
yes. John Wren says there's no more slaughter for Omnicom. Had a great interview. Shout out to Allison Wiesbrot from AdWeek.
Really, this is amazing reporting.
Of course, he sat down, answered her questions while hitting his vape.
Incredible line.
Incredible.
The
That's
way
awesome.
he answers questions is absolutely insane. I just cannot, like, reading the article.
Yeah.
Each of his answers is like so aggressive. He's like so like defensive, and every time you're like, oh my god, why does he talk like this?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, he's cutthroat.
And I need you to preface, like, you mean fantastic in the sense of like it's insane content.
Yes,
It's not fantastic.
That's how we talk to each other.
Sorry. It's not fantastic.
It's
like
fantastic
it's good.
content.
Right.
That's what I mean by that. I prefaced that. Yeah. But what did he say? Let's get to the meat and potatoes. He's claiming that the biggest cuts are over. There was around 10,000 jobs that were eliminated after the merger, and future reductions will mainly come from outsourcing and AI.
And like random non-core businesses, as he describes
Yeah.
it. So it seems like there's still work to be done. He's still shuffling it around. They asked how morale was. He said it's good.
Yeah.
So that's how he feels about it. That's what he thinks. And the one thing that stuck out to me, Allison asked him about the Publicis video about how holding companies are over-promising on pitches, and he said they're not talking about Omnicom. He's talking about other holding companies. And then he said that Arthur even goes up to some senior leaders at Omnicom in the airport to talk about those over-promises. So like referencing, like calling him out directly.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. I mean, go check it out. Go read it. I hope he's right, though. I will finish with this. I hope he's right when he's saying there's no more job reductions and like no more like agency cuts. So
I know it's been too much. It's just been
in a way. I'm
insane.
cheering for John Wren in that factor.
I'm cheering for the for the people. But last one, Gino, Donner wins Navy Federal Credit Union. We actually got this as a scoop
Yes.
a week or so ago, but I don't know how it all works.
What did they get?
They got Navy Federal Credit Union.
Congrats to them. New agency alert. Are we talking creative?
Creative.
Gotta be donor.
AOR donor, which is like, I don't know why, like not donor Cole in this situation, just donor.
Because Donor and Cole McVoy have a strategic alliance under the Stagwell Holding Company. They are not merged. It is a strategic alliance, and they usually pitch together. And they just won.
I don't know.
Hershey.
I don't remember, but
I think they won the salty snacks division at Hershey.
so they take this from Mullenlow, TBWA.
Okay.
Per adage, the TBWA did repitch, and Donor wins. So Donor, like their whole thing is Midwest, kind of like serving this population. 99% of the country that isn't 99% of the geography that isn't on the coasts.
Okay.
That I feel like that's their whole shtick, like Donor underneath Stagwell.
What percent of the
Of the population is
Yeah.
actually, I have no idea, but it's probably like 50-50.
Okay. Oh, you're saying if you combine the coasts
Yeah, if you
versus
combine the
middle.
populations of the coast
Yeah.
versus.
No, there's definitely poised nicely to do that. They seem like you think like a Barkley OKRP kind of does that too.
Yeah,
They're
Midwest.
very, very similar because those are still independent, but they came together. You got Chicago, Kansas City. So now you got a player with like Donor Cole, which was like your Minneapolis was just Colt McVoy, Donor, which is mainly Detroit area. So there is a viable market for that, and we're seeing that this thesis is working out.
Well, I feel like Navy Federal Credit Union has a massive ad budget. I feel like I see their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
They are always doing stuff. So it's a big win for the agency. One of those like you hope you can kind of anchor on, right? Like
Is that a Navy joke?
What?
Anchor on?
It's a good. Yeah, I guess so. Sometimes
gotta be on
I'm
the
just that
lookout for
good.
some of those things.
All right, well, that was a 2-minute drill, and we're gonna move on now with the show. Gino, very excited about our next guest. If you want to tee it up.
Yeah, so our next guest here, we're at BETC here in Paris. It is beautiful here, and we want to get to know what it's like to work here and actually in Europe. So a perfect guest for us today is going to be Nick Bakshi, who is an ECD here at BETC. So Nick, if you can hear us, we would love for you to join the set. Hey, Nick.
Nick, here we go. He looks great. He looks fantastic. Good to see you.
You guys.
Good.
Welcome,
How are
welcome.
you? We'll have you
Thanks
just
for coming in.
clip this in wherever, right?
So
right on the center.
I think what's interesting, I'll set some more context for while you get set up here. Nick, you originally started working in the U.S. You went to a great school, Brown, and then you transferred, I believe, to Europe in the mid 2010s.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Like
Okay.
2016, I came here.
Okay, great. And you've worked at BETC, you've worked at Le Pub, you did your Italy
I did my little vacation in Italy.
And you
I
boomeranged
Ukraine
back.
loved. Yeah.
You boomeranged back to here at BETC, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. I did, I think about 1.5 years in Milan, and then I came back here. I was here for 5 years before that.
Wow.
And then previously in France, I'd moved around a little bit. I started at Ogilvy Paris, which at the time was being run by a guy named Chris Garbett, who was a very good creative. And then I went to Leo Burnett for a short stint, and then I came to BETC.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So right off the bat here, you've worked in the U.S., you worked in Italy and France, all in advertising. What's one thing that, you feel like Europeans in general just have this better understanding of creativity than maybe the Americas do?
I don't know if I would say that Europeans have a better understanding of creativity, but I think that just because of budgets and budget sizes, you have to be much more impactful with the work that you make. I think that in the US, like I leaned a lot on dialogue as a copywriter, puns, things that were good for a local market, celebrity endorsements. And with the budgets that you have in Europe, you really can't do that, or frequently you can't do that. So you have to rely on things that are just much more creative and cut through the noise.
How does that change like the client dynamic? Because I think we talk with a lot of like CMOs that are U.S. based agencies that are working on U.S. campaigns, and we hear about all the different tensions that exist between the marketing for this U.S. company and the creative agency and the tensions that are there. Is there anything that you've noticed is like a little different about the flavor of the client relationships in Europe?
It really depends. I mean, here we're working with a lot of international CMOs, so it really depends on the client and the person that you're working with. I can tell you that in Italy, it's a very different vibe. Like Italy, I think from France is much more familial. You're with your family, which means there are like pretty violent fights, but also like a lot of trust and a relationship that builds over time. In France, it's a little bit more, I would say, cerebral. Like it's a very intellectual culture. So those relationships shape more based on the culture. But I don't know if there is like was the question?
Yeah, just like a drastic difference in like the client relationships. I feel like that makes sense. Like how you explained it. I mean, and then like in America, like how would you define? I guess maybe don't have as much experience, obviously.
It's been 10 years since I was in the US,
Yeah.
so I really don't, I never had those relationships. I was always like pretty junior when I was in the States. But I would say that the US is much more of a machine. Like, because there's a lot of money going in and a lot of money going out, there are things being made very, very consistently. And I think that makes the relationship between CMOs and agencies very transactional. Like it's in and out, and we have to hit the deadline, we have to hit the date. I think there's a lot more pontificating in Europe. There's a lot more deliberation about the money that's spent because there's less of it. So that can be good and it can be bad. I mean, you chew on ideas a lot longer. It circulates a lot longer.
For sure. And then understanding BETC. You worked here for a couple of years, like you said. You checked out Le Pub in Milan, and then you came back here. I guess, what did you learn, I guess, from leaving this spot and then wanting to come back here, or landing back here?
BTC is a really special agency. I think that I started out in Gray in New York while Tor Mayron was the CMO there. And it reminds me a lot of Gray in that it's a behemoth agency. You know, like you guys have seen it. There's tons and tons of people, tons of creatives, which means you have a global culture that is about innovation, about standing out. It's about French excellence. But then within that, you have little families. And the agency itself morphs to who you work with and what you like to do. And there are a lot of different schools within the agency, which I like. Like, I think that if you're somebody who really likes to be stimulated often and have a lot of different challenges, it's a really fun way to work because you're constantly passing from one creative director to one style to a different account.
And what,
whereas like in Le Pub, I think that Le Pub has its blueprint. Like Le Pub makes Le Pub work one way. They make absolutely excellent world-class work, but they have one very specific way of working, and it's quite a small culture, so you fall into that culture.
But it works.
But I think that for me, like, it wasn't an agency where no, that's not true. I'm not going to speak about Le Pub. They're a wonderful agency, and I learned a lot there.
There's like, it makes a lot of sense. I think anyone would agree that, like, you know, there's different philosophies and different styles that like work, and it just depends on the agency. And what kind of creative you probably thrive in. That makes sense. Sounds like BETC is set up, because I mean, we've seen it. It is a massive, like, the building itself is like massive.
Oh, it's huge.
You guys have so much going on. But
I'm going to ask, what brands do you work on? What do you oversee?
So I spent the last 2 years here running Citroën, which is a car brand, French car brand.
The Revolution spot that you made is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a really, really great time working on that with two amazing creatives who are now in London, Matt and Abby. What's up, Matt and Abby? Amazing director, Frederick Bond, worked on that. And it was really the new tone that we were building into the brand. We started with like a really simple thesis, which was, like, every great film you've ever seen has an amazing car scene, or can have an amazing car scene in it. So, like, why are car ads so boring? Why don't we bring some of the epicness of cinema to car ads? So I did that for 2 years, and then, just to finish the question, I recently took over on Canal Plus, which is a historic brand of the agency. And it's now been 2 or 3 months running that, and hopefully you'll start to see some work out of that new setup and new team soon. And I also run Campari, based in Milan, so I go back to Milan a lot. What else am I running right now? I'm definitely running some other stuff.
Just dominating.
Just dominating.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I know, you got to watch this ad. It's crazy. It's for a car ad too. It's like the revolution for AI, for EV.
Oh, okay.
Like electric vehicles is here.
Yeah.
It's like so good.
It is a good point though. Like the car commercials,
they're trash usually.
The car. Why can someone explain this to me? Like, why did there become just like cars among every single industry in the world? I feel like cars as the most specific template that just gets played over and over and over and over again.
I really don't know why it happened, but I'm really happy that we are starting to break out of it. I think France is also doing a really good job leading that. Publicis has Renault as an account, and they did a lot of really great work. And now I'm seeing more and more like big, really cinematic and theatrical car ads, which remind me of like more the 80s. I think that the car industry kind of went through a period of apologizing for not being electric enough, or kind of explaining the transition ecologically. And I think that now that the technology has gotten better, they don't feel like they have to be so apologist about everything, which allows for more creativity and more fun work.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it does make sense. I feel like if you're, even like on the car brand side, you're just seeing, it just feels like there's more opportunity.
Yeah.
It feels like people want to do it.
It's a little bit like there was a moment where insurance was like kind of a boring category, and then Geico broke through, and then suddenly like everything insurance was really fun for a couple years. I feel like that kind of happened with car brands, which is a fun place to be.
Yeah, you can't even remember a time when insurance brands weren't doing the craziest, because then it's like
I
it's
can
so
remember
competitive.
that. You guys can't remember that.
Hey, I don't. I'm not doing age drops. I'm not pocket watching. But no.
I do want to understand though. So it's like 2016. You're working at Ogilvy, I believe, or you're working at Gray, and then you get a job abroad here in Paris.
Yep.
What were you thinking to go to Europe? Was this like, I want to try it out for a year, then come back to the States?
No, definitely.
What was what was your mindset?
So I have a pretty specific background. My mom was a French teacher. I studied French at Brown. I always really wanted to live here, and when I got into advertising, I was really under the impression that as an English-speaking copywriter, like I was just stuck in New York or LA pretty much. Maybe London if I got lucky. But I always had this dream of moving to Paris and living abroad. And then one day, like completely out of the blue, I got a phone call from a recruiter, Sasha the Mensch. What's up?
Oh, Sasha!
Everybody knows Sasha.
We love Sasha.
Sasha's the man. Sasha's
Oh my
the man.
gosh, we just saw him last week.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's all
in
over.
Paris right now.
He's
Sasha,
he's always on his grind.
He's all
always
over.
on his grind. He found me out of nowhere. Nobody had ever heard of me. Sent my book to the ECD at Ogilvy Paris, who happened to be in New York. She liked my book, met me the next day, hired me in the interview, and 3 months later I was in France. So I got really lucky. It doesn't always work that way. It can be like quite a slog to get here. But when I got the call and got to move here, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going back. This is it for me.
Wow.
So you knew you wanted to be in...
I knew I wanted to be in France. And then after being in France for a really long time, I, got the itch again. And that's when I ended up going to Italy, which was a great experience too, because I realized that as much as I love France, there are other amazing countries in the world where it's really fun.
So who's got better food?
That's really hard. I don't want to weigh in on that.
You got it.
That's more...
You got it.
That's more controversial than the pub.
Honest truth, I think that the French still got it. Italians, forgive me. I think that Italian food is wonderful.
So you're
I
giving
can't eat that much pasta personally. It's just like a little bit too much pasta for me. And I think that the French have a better diversity of choice.
What do I order? What do I order at? What do I order at? Like just any French
Brasserie?
restaurant? Yeah, a brasserie.
How weird do you like to get?
Not like that weird. I just want something that I know is going to be good. I stumbled into this brasserie. I don't know if it's actually good or not.
You ever tried confit de canard?
No.
Okay, confit de canard is, I told you guys I was going to drop a French accent.
Yeah, seriously.
It's duck confit. So it's like duck cooked in its own fat.
Oh, I love
and
that.
And most of the time when you go to the brasseries, it's kind of pre-made. So it's got to be like solid. You're not going to have any misses.
Yeah, it'll be.
And it's fatty.
There's a high
delicious and,
floor.
like, yeah.
There's a high floor.
Where can we get that around here?
Yeah.
Is there a spot that you recommend?
So we're in
recommendation.
Bonfin, which is kind of outside of Paris. But if you go into Paris, I mean, any brasserie is going to have it. The places that I would recommend to you to eat probably will change the menu more often than that.
Got it.
Question.
Just
I don't
walk
know.
in.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Tell me.
For a creative in America, lived in America, stayed in America, how do you develop your taste?
How do you develop your taste?
How do you develop, like, you moved from America to France, and you obviously have had so many lived experiences that can, like, develop how you think about the world. But for people that, like, maybe can't get out because they're in their agency job, they can't experience the world as much. How do you, like, is there a way to even get those kinds of values?
Taste is a really hard word to I think that taste is a tough word because it can mean a lot of different things. What I would say that moving outside of the United States and working outside of my local market did for me is it made me an outsider in another culture. I grew up in New Jersey. I spent my whole life in the Northeast. When I went to go work in an agency in New York, I was very much like, I was another straight white guy in an ad agency in New York. I was like, this was a fish in water. And then when I moved to Europe, I became an outsider immediately. And that gives you a really critical lens on the culture that you live in. And it allows you to see the things that people take for granted and kind of pick up on them. And when you can pick up on things that are what the normal culture takes for granted, I think that's where you find interesting insights that you can build on to tell better stories and make, just make commentary on the culture. And I think that's where you can hit work that's really interesting. And I think that if you can't leave the United States to do that, putting yourself in a position where you're often the outsider, I mean, show up at not parties where you're not invited, but like go to meetups where it's not your local group.
Right.
It's not even English. Put yourselves in situations that make you uncomfortable, make yourself feel like an outsider, and I think that you'll gain a critical lens that will really help you with your creativity.
I think what you said, that what stuck out to me of that is you are able to develop commentary on your own background and culture when you go and put yourself in like for an extended period of time to be able to understand a different culture, which I think is really interesting. Like, I think that's cool.
I want to ask about that then. So now that you've kind of been on the outside of what's going on in advertising in the U.S., what are some of those conversations you're seeing on the sidelines, or you're observing that you're like, this does not matter, or like this is way out of proportion?
In advertising or in the culture as a whole?
Advertising.
Oof, that's a really hard one. I would say that the critical lens is more applied to culture as a whole than it is to advertising. I will say that like one of the things that I have a huge problem with that is taken hold in the United States is the use of celebrity. I just feel like it kind of corrupts concept.
Yeah, this is a perfect answer.
Yeah, I think that we also don't have the ability to work with celebrities. So I think that if you want to have a famous idea, you have to find the idea that will be famous instead of the person that will be famous. That's not to say that celebrities can't be used in really smart ways. I just feel like it's overused in the United States.
It is a weird thing. Sometimes I feel like we hear stories sometimes where it's like, the brand executive or someone was like, we really want to use this celebrity.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, the idea just becomes like, now we have to build an idea around the celebrity.
And you can do it. I mean, great creatives are put in positions all the time where there are 1,000 constraints and you have to solve a problem. And the talent can be a constraint and you can solve that problem. But I think that it's still a problem that needs to be solved. The celebrity can't be the idea. I think that's kind of what
everyone says that. Everyone says like celebrity can't be the idea. Like you can't lean on celebrities
unless it's Michael Ceravé, in which case the celebrity can't be the idea. And then you're like, cool, this works.
For sure. There's definitely good ways to do it.
The only argument that I would have is like how fragmented and how challenging it is to stick out in the U.S. advertising market, really any advertising market, and all the attention that we're competing for. So if you do use a celebrity and you knock it out of the park, like a CeraVe, it does work. And
totally.
And that's why even Super Bowl, like brands I love, like an Etsy that refused to use a celebrity in a couple of years ago, I said was my favorite one. And some of the conversations I had was like, it needed that star power to break through in the Super Bowl itself. And that kind of shifted my POV, at least on the Super Bowl use of celebrities to break through.
I totally agree with that. I think that that's also where like, I think that Super Bowl advertising for me has gone down significantly in its creative impact. I feel like, well, and maybe this is just me being a stodgy old person now, but I feel like the ads that I grew up with watching in the Super Bowl versus the ads that I watch today, I feel like the level isn't the same. If I was a marketer today, I wouldn't place my money there. I think that it's so much money, and it's great if you win, but if you lose, you just become another ad.
And there's really not a lot of winners, and like the percentage of what you would deem like a win is tough. But to that point, I feel like the celebrity usage raises the floor of the campaign. You can kind of guarantee the level of impact it'll have if you have a celebrity. But to your point, I think you live in like this world where like there is a lower ceiling in most cases. Not Michael CeraVe, not the ones that are on the one edge of the bell curve.
I think that you can buy eyes and PR on the campaign. Then what you do with those eyes and PR, it's totally up to the creative. And I feel like I mean, that's it.
It's so fascinating to hear your POV on all of this, and like just the idea of working in this market, working in Paris, and like, yes, acknowledging that the budgets are a little bit more contained here. So that does open up for that scrappiness, the not needing of a reliance of the celebrities. So it does kind of make sense, your POV and all that. I think it's fascinating.
And I mean, this is not a uniquely French perspective at all. Like, no. I think that if you speak about Brazilian art directors, everybody knows that Brazilian art directors are freaks, or Argentinian copywriters, and there's a reason. It's like in those cultures, that was the way that they broke out creatively to the global scale. Like,
is there something then that makes something extremely unique to Paris advertising then? If the scrappiness is kind of universal outside of the U.S., what have you noticed then in Paris specifically?
I mean, this is going to be kind of an obvious answer, but the craft and attention to detail, I think, is like absolutely stunning. Mm-hmm. I mean, the French are really elegant, and they live in the details and in refinement, which is something that for an American, it was like hard to grasp and wrap my head around, but they're just incredibly good at it.
Makes sense. Think about like the culture, think about like the history of France, of Paris, and like the cultural impact it has, especially with like art and those things. So it 100% makes sense. I think it is, I do think like, you know, that you kind of hear this sometimes where it's a little bit easier to make something that's crazy when you have unlimited budget. Yeah. Like you see some stuff, especially on like the FIFA World Cup. Where, oh my God, how much money was spent on these things? Yeah. My other question I wanted to ask was, how is advertising perceived by like normal people?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Because in America, I think that, I don't know how I would define the sentiment in America. I think people are like, I hate ads in America right now, but how is it perceived in France?
It's kind of like middle of the road, I would say. Okay. Like, I don't think that it's like if you go to South America, if you go to Brazil, for instance, I was just in Brazil, it's considered like almost an art, right? Yeah. Definitely not the case here. Like the French have their artists, very talented artists. This is not in that world. I don't think that it's like an ignoble thing to do in France. Yeah. I would say middle of the road.
So it almost sounds kind of similar to how it's perceived in America, I would say. Yeah. Like you have your people can appreciate really, really great ads in America.
Exactly.
And it sounds similar in France, like when it's really done, but they're probably more critical in France. If you have this culture of precision, attention to detail, and like art.
I don't know how much time you guys have been here, but the French are critical of literally everything. So they're definitely critical of ads. They're critical of the way that you dress in the street. They're critical of like the jokes that you tell. The French are critical.
But that's like the beauty of it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you have to embrace that.
You have to embrace it, and it just means that everyone's just way more honest with each other.
So I grew up in New Jersey, and I felt like there's a huge similarity, bizarrely, between the French and people from New Jersey, which is you are like weirdly critical as a sign of affection. Like if you ever go to a diner in New Jersey, the waitress or waiter is gonna like hurry you along if she knows you. Like, come on, baby, I know what you want. Like 2 cups of coffee and a full stack of pancakes. I feel like that is the same energy that you get in France. People are just like kind of like grinding you out because they love you. So you have to enjoy that to live here, I guess.
I love it. Amazing. Perfect. Well, yeah, fantastic. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
It was a blast.
Take it easy.
Really cool.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hey, come on. Love that. And then we'll take the mic. Can you imagine how crazy that would be? Yep. Thank you, Nick.
Nicely done.
That was Nick, Executive Creative Director here at BETC. Absolute legend. Amazing. That was cool.
Yeah, that was
great. Yeah, that was really good.
I think it's the chairs.
There's
the comfortable chairs.
Yeah,
everybody can have a good conversation. It's like your buddy's basement.
Yeah, you just sink into the chair. You want to keep some energy though, so it is kind of a hard thing to balance. But that was cool. If you're just joining now, listen to that interview with Nick to understand like pretty much everything that has to do with French advertising and culture from the perspective of us being very much American.
And he is American.
Yes, right. So he gets it.
Yeah.
So he gets both sides.
Been here for about 10 years.
All right, next up, we're going to talk with Natalie Wills, who's the SVP of Marketing at Expedia. And we're going to watch the spot that they just dropped with iShowSpeed. If you have been following this show, we interviewed Natalie when they first launched this big campaign with iShowSpeed and Mother LA. And we'll show phase 2 right now.
Oh, you're not even ready. Wait till you see this. Let's go. Let's go. You like this? So tense. I want to travel through the whole world one day. Through space, to the moon, different universes, everywhere. You're such a good listener. Wait, we gotta go.
gonna be a hoot.
All right, Natalie, welcome to the show. Recurring guest, Natalie Wills. How are you doing?
Hi guys, super nice to be back. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. So we just saw, the audience just saw, I guess you could say phase 2 of your campaign with iShowSpeed. We talked with you right when it first launched. The whole thing was around, partnering with iShowSpeed, Expedia, working with Mother LA, and then you made the website that was, you could see clips of iShowSpeed in destinations. People could see the clips, they could get their travel. It made a ton of sense. But the question on everyone's mind, of course, is how has it been going?
Yeah, so good. I think that also just the timing of everything was so perfect because I'm not sure if everybody would have seen unless they're living under a rock, but like he is just absolutely on fire at the moment. And I think he's just proving to us day by day that he's just such a perfect creator to work with. So in phase 1, really what was the first iteration of the campaign, we went on an incredible live stream journey with him where we went to 5 countries in one day. I think it was 15 hours. He nearly passed out at the end. He put everything into it. What an absolute legend. And we wanted to basically show travelers how Speed uses Expedia to travel. But in this sort of next iteration, we really want to show people how they can travel like Speed. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole purpose of the second phase. And the first phase, as I said, we went to all these countries. The recent stat that we have is over 400 million people watched between the live stream and all of the sort of clipped content that went out afterwards. We've seen incredible engagement on the booking platform. We've seen surges for all of the Caribbean islands that he visited just really go through the roof in search on Expedia. So just all in all, it's just given us really early signs that this is just an incredible creator partnership and we can't wait to keep going.
Is this the largest creator partnership that we've seen? Probably.
Just
like the first one to like a brand to latch on so extensively.
I remember when this first came out, I remember Natalie, our whole discussion was around, it's not enough to just sponsor iShowSpeed or
this is
have him
not
do a
selfie
video. Not him being like,
and way more.
This next backflip is brought to you by Expedia. It has to be something more. And I also remember you guys created the clipping account. That's what I reminded myself of that. You guys made a separate TikTok account that was where you'd be clipping all of the content that you were doing and pushing it out. Has totally. A lot of the views been driven through that?
Yeah, I think it's a really smart, I can't claim fame to all of this because I've got a super smart team behind the scenes here, but from all of obviously just the media strategy from the beginning, just leaning into places where people are naturally exposed to iShowSpeed. So Twitch, YouTube, organic posts on his page. And I just think the clippings is just the extra bonus that you get with Speed. People are so into what he's doing that people make money off his content. So the clipping is just an absolute bonus for us, to be honest. And I think that it's also in this phase, which is so cool. He's so leaned in. He's really helped us to decide on the creative with Mother. He's been really involved in the selection of all the activities that he does, because obviously you see that trip traveling like Speed, and he's doing all these incredible, weird and wonderful activities that are actually all bookable on Expedia. Not my type of trip, but definitely his type of trip, really high octane, off the charts type of energy. And also I wanted to just bring up one other thing in the spot, which is so cool, is I'm not sure if you noticed, but we have one of his super fans at the end. So Denise. And,
yes.
So that was just such a cool idea that came up in one of the brainstorms we were having with him and his management. And just in terms of, this incredible heartwarming moment that happened, between him and Denise, a couple of months ago on a live stream. And then he was like, why do we have her in the spot? And we were like, that's an incredible idea. Let's do it. So for people that don't know who Denise is, that's they can look up that YouTube video as well.
Well, Natalie, I'm very impressed. We just got back from Cannes, and a lot of the conversations are how the role of creators and bringing creators, influencers, into the ideation process. That seems to be the next phase opposed to a media buy here. You've achieved this early on before it was really kind of popularized at Cannes itself here. So like, what have you learned from bringing iShowSpeed into the ideation process, and should other brands consider this type of format?
Yeah, totally. And you know what? It was so interesting, guys. I also I'm also off the back of Can, and last year AI. This year creator. It was just everywhere in every single meeting. So it was super exciting to have actually a great case study to talk about, to be honest. But I think 100%. I think there's so much work that goes into selecting the types of talent that you work with. It seems like such a waste once you've selected that brilliant talent for who they are and the audience that they've managed to amass themselves without your help, to then not ask for them for their help. It just seems like such a wasted resource. And so I think they know, these creators